It's the final days of World War II. Japanese forces, led by General Tomoyuki Yamashita, are retreating from the Philippines. But they're not leaving empty-handed. According to the legend, they carry with them a vast hoard of looted gold, diamonds, and priceless artifacts stolen from across Southeast Asia. Unable to transport this immense wealth back to Japan, they allegedly buried it deep within the Philippine jungles, intending to retrieve it later. Over the decades, this story has captivated treasure hunters and historians alike. Tales of secret maps, booby-trap caves, and mysterious disappearances abound. But amidst all the excitement and the feverish digging, one question remains. Is the Yamashita treasure real, or is it just an elaborate myth that has grown out of the fog of war and time? Join us in this episode as we explore the intriguing saga of the Yamashita treasure. We'll sift through the evidence, uncover the facts, and delve into the stories of those who've dedicated their lives to finding it. Could this legendary treasure truly be hidden beneath our very feet? Or is it merely a fantastical story spun from the desperation and chaos of war? Welcome to the Lil Weird Podcast, where we delve into the strangest, most mysterious tales that the world has to offer. I am your host, Jane, and today we're diving into one of the most tantalizing legends in Philippine history, the Yamashita treasure. Get ready, dear listeners, because in this episode, we're diving deep into the enigma. We'll uncover clues, revisit the tales of daring treasure hunters, and question everything we think we know. Are you ready to join us in this treasure hunt? Let's unravel the mystery together. As World War II drew to a close in the Philippines, General Yamashita Tomoyuki was engaged in a fierce struggle in the rugged mountains of Luzon. Meanwhile, in the shadows, some of Japan's highest-ranking imperial princes were orchestrating a different kind of operation. They were concealing tons of looted gold bullion and other stolen treasures in nearby caves and tunnels. Treasures amassed from the 12 Asian countries over thousands of years. With meticulous precision, teams accompanying Japan's armed forces had scoured treasuries, banks, factories, private homes, pawn shops, and art galleries, stripping everything of value. Even ordinary people weren't spared. Japan's top gangsters also contributed by plundering Asia's underworld and black market. Their thoroughness was unmatched, far exceeding that of the Nazis. It was as if a giant vacuum cleaner had swept across East and Southeast Asia, sucking up everything of worth. While some of this plunder made it to Japan overland through Korea, much of it transported by sea was halted in the Philippines by a U.S. submarine blockade by early 1943. Stashing the treasure in the Philippines became vital. Japan's strategy was clear. Even if they lost the war militarily, they would not lose financially. They believed that, regardless of the war's outcome, they would retain control of the Philippines. Under the supervision of the princes, 175 secret treasure vaults were constructed throughout the islands. In June 1945, with U.S. tanks closing in on Bambang, the 175 chief engineers of these vaults attended a farewell party 220 feet underground in a place known as Tunnel 8. This cavernous space was filled to the brim with gold bars. As the night went on, the engineers drank sake, sang patriotic songs, and shouted "Bansai" or "Long Life" repeatedly. At midnight, General Yamashita and the princes quietly left, and dynamite charges were detonated in the access tunnels, sealing the engineers inside. They were entombed alive. Those who didn't perform ritual suicide would eventually suffocate, surrounded by gold, ensuring the treasure's secrecy. In the following days, the princes escaped to Japan by submarine. 3 months later, General Yamashita surrendered to American troops, leaving behind one of the history's greatest mysteries. Contrary to popular belief, the so-called Yamashita treasure was neither owned or orchestrated by General Yamashita. The legend often attributes the massive collection of looted gold and treasures, but in reality, General Yamashita was a military commander focused on the war effort in the Philippines. The true mastermind behind the systematic plundering was Prince Chichibu, Emperor Hirohito's brother. Prince Chichibu headed the clandestine operation known as Kinoyuri or Golden Lily, named after one of the emperor's poems. Golden Lily was an extensive and highly organized operation, involving numerous imperial princes who managed different branches across the occupied territories. These princes oversaw the meticulous looting of treasuries, banks, factories, private homes, pawnshops, and art galleries. The operation extended its reach to the underworld, with Japan's top gangsters looting Asia's black market. By May 1942, the accumulated plunder was being stockpiled at Pier 15 in Manila. Manila served as the central hub where treasures from Southeast Asia were brought together for final sorting and inventory before being shipped to Japan. The choice of Manila was strategic, as the Japanese did not control a ground route from Southeast Asia through China until late 1940, making seaport the only viable option. The Philippines' natural geology, with its numerous caverns, provided perfect hiding places for the treasure. Additionally, Manila's extensive tunnel system, originally dug by prisoners during Spanish colonial rule and later expanded by the U.S. Army, offered secure and concealed storage locations. Some tunnels even connected to churches, cathedrals, and monasteries with catacombs, or to Spanish forts with complex dungeons. Thus, while General Yamashita's name became famously associated with the treasure, he was not the architect behind its collection or concealment. Instead, it was Prince Chichibu and the Golden Lily operation that orchestrated this vast accumulation of wealth, leaving behind one of the history's most enduring and enigmatic legends. Before delving into the final moments of World War II and the frantic efforts to hide the treasure, let's take a step back to understand how Manila's strategic locations came to be. In 1571, the Spaniards relocated their headquarters from Cebu to Manila, taking over the fortress of the local Muslim ruler Dato Suliman. They renamed it Fort Santiago and surrounded it with massive walls, creating a fortified area known as Intramuros, which included cathedrals and government buildings. Over centuries, this network of tunnels and fortifications expanded, with the Americans later adding their own enhancements. These historic structures and hidden passages, originally built for colonial and defensive purposes, would centuries later become the perfect hiding places for Japan's looted treasures. Intramuros, meaning within the walls, was soon adorned with two grand cathedrals and numerous government buildings. Situated on the south bank of the Pasig River estuary, where the river meets Manila Bay, the Spaniards transformed Intramuros into a man-made island by digging a wide moat around its walls. Over time, the water receded and the moat evolved into a park. Within the fortified walls, Spanish soldiers, traders, and priests live alongside their Filipino servants. This extensive underground network provided Prince Chichibu with an ideal hiding place for the war loot. The Kempeitai, who were the military police of the Imperial Japanese Army. The organization also shared civilian secret police espionage and counterintelligence roles within Japan and its occupied territories, and was notorious for its brutality and role in suppressing dissent, had established their headquarters at Fort Santiago, making security in Intramuros exceptionally tight. This security allowed for easy modification of the existing tunnels or the creation of side tunnels, which could be sealed and cleverly camouflaged to conceal the treasure. Prince Chichibu faced a significant challenge: how to discreetly transport the treasure from bayfront warehouses to Intramuros without arousing suspicion. Using convoys of army trucks would undoubtedly attract local curiosity. The solution was to dig a new tunnel directly from Pier 15 to Fort Santiago, connecting it to the existing Spanish-era tunnels under Intramuros. The excavation work began in early May 1942, with large quantities of rock and soil being dumped into Manila Bay as landfill in the Ermita district, just south of Pier 15. Throughout the summer of 1942, as the tunnel project progressed, Prince Chichibu and other members of the royal family explored potential sites for treasure vaults around Manila. They focused their attention on iconic locations such as Manila Cathedral, San Agustin Church, Fort Santiago, Fort McKinley, and Santo Tomas University. Their goal was to establish invisible treasure vaults at these historic sites by connecting them discreetly to the main tunnel through branch shafts. Chichibu's engineers meticulously crafted a large-scale map of Manila, marking each potential site along with the route of the main tunnel. The map also indicated where smaller access tunnels would be needed to reach each future vault. One of the primary considerations was to prevent accidental discovery of the vaults, either by direct hits from artillery or aerial bombs, or by future construction on the same sites. To ensure the treasure vaults remain hidden, each one was constructed about 90 feet deep. Another strategy involved placing the vaults in locations protected under the Geneva Convention, which prohibited bombing hospitals, schools, prisoner of war camps, churches, and historic monuments. They also chose locations under historic monuments and near existing water supplies to avoid future construction. Some locations were chosen for symbolic reasons, like those near large acacia trees. Acacia wood tied to the Ark of the Covenant in the Bible was known for its resilience, with deep roots that withstand drought and typhoons. This made them ideal markers for their vaults. Inside Intramuros, the decision was made to establish several treasure vaults at San Agustin Church and the adjoining monastery. When the princes visited the monastery in 1942, they found it filled with religious relics, statues of saints, and ornate priestly vestments. Prince Chichibu's plan for San Agustin quickly took shape. The stone fountain in the church's cloister was located just 400 meters from the Santa Lucia Gate, where the main Golden Lily tunnel began. Golden Lily employed Japanese ceramic experts who could produce concrete of extraordinary hardness. These experts crafted cement plugs that perfectly resembled normal sections of tunnel wall. By tinting the composite with pigments of local soil, the entrances blended seamlessly with their surroundings, making the branch tunnels virtually undetectable. The recibidor, or the receiver, in the monastery next to San Agustin was turned into a treasure vault. Originally, the Spaniards built this large room with a massive stone arch to support the ceiling. Chichibu found similar stones behind the church and used them to fill in the arch, creating a solid wall and a hidden room about 20 by 50 feet in size. The recibidor was a private space, known only to those living in the monastery. To prevent anyone from noticing the changes, the Kempeitai killed all the priests and workers familiar with the room. They also destroyed related documents and records, killing the archivist to ensure no one would discover the secret. Later, when American forces retook Manila, they found 45 bodies of priests and workers in shallow graves in the monastery basement, most killed with bayonets. In a moment of dark humor, Chichibu pointed out an oil painting in the cloister, St. Augustine blessing a native, where the saint's hand seemed to gesture towards the new vault. Chichibu ordered an extra finger to be painted on the saint's hand, pointing directly at the hidden entrance, which led to this location being nicknamed the Six-Finger Site. The princes next turned to their focus to Manila Cathedral, choosing two strategic spots for treasure vaults. One vault was placed under a large acacia tree in front of the cathedral, and another beneath the altar, assuming these locations would remain undisturbed. Access to these vaults were provided by a branch tunnel extending from the stone fountain at San Agustin Church. At Santo Tomas University on Rizal Avenue, they identified a spacious basement room and converted one end into a hidden treasure chamber. This building was particularly secure because it housed an interment camp for American civilians, including women and children, and was protected by the Red Cross, making it off-limits to bombing. The princes also inspected Fort Santiago, where the Kempeitai had their headquarters, allowing them to work covertly. They selected several hiding places, including one under the large fountain in the fort's front park, which could be reached through a tunnel from the acacia tree vault at Manila Cathedral. Another vault was hidden beneath an acacia tree in the Spanish officers' courtyard, near a monument to the poet and nationalist hero Jose Rizal. This vault was later discovered in 1985 by a military unit loyal to Imelda Marcos. An additional spar tunnel led to a third vault beneath the Bastion de San Miguel. Prince Chichibu and his team spent weeks creating detailed blueprints, called the Blue Series, for building the treasure vaults. Later, Japanese cartographers made coded recovery maps named as the Red Series. These maps were designed to help future Japanese teams find the hidden treasure, showing crucial details like depths and locations to avoid traps. The Red Series maps were unique, drawn in a Japanese style like chalkboard sketches, showing mountains, rivers, trees, and roads. Each map displayed a coded value of the treasure, such as 111 billion yen, 77 billion yen, or 888 billion yen. To know the actual value, you need a key to decode these figures, like removing 6 zeros. The maps also included notes written in various scripts including kana or syllabic alphabet and kanji, Chinese ideograms, as well as some English inscriptions by Japanese engineers trained abroad. Specific keys on the map, such as the direction of a flag or the position of a clock face, indicated how the map should be read and provided critical information about the site. A fulcrum point was marked to show where measurements should begin. Without these maps, the treasure would be nearly impossible to locate. The creation of these vaults came at a high human cost. Allied POWs or prisoners of war and slave laborers from Korea and China were forced to dig the tunnels and vaults under brutal conditions. To ensure secrecy, the workers were buried alive inside the vaults once the treasure was secured. Shinto priests performed rituals at each site, ostensibly to bless the dead but primarily to ensure the spirits would guard the treasure. By August 1942, after 6 months in Manila, Chichibu moved to Singapore due to his worsening tuberculosis. During his stay in Manila, he lived in General MacArthur's penthouse at Manila Hotel, which still contained many of MacArthur's personal belongings. The penthouse provided a view of Pier 15 and stunning sunsets over Bataan, but Chichibu's health forced him to seek a more suitable climate. Japan's immense plunder required more than just the treasure vaults in Manila and the tunnels at Corregidor. Additional vaults were constructed across the archipelago, including Mindanao, Mindoro, and other islands. In the mountains north of Manila, another imperial prince was busy expanding natural caverns to create the largest treasure vaults of the war outside Japan. But how much of this is true? Do we have any evidence for it? Due to the high secrecy of this operation, finding concrete evidence is unlikely, especially for the public. But what if there was a credible and verified living eyewitness to all of this? Fortunately, there is. Let's take a captivating journey into the heart of the story and meet Ben Balmores, a young Filipino valet with an extraordinary tale to tell. He found himself in the company of an exceptional Japanese prince, offering us a rare and fascinating viewpoint into these intriguing accounts. But who was this young Filipino valet, and how did he come to be entangled in the web of imperial secrets and hidden treasures? In Part 2, we'll delve deeper into Ben Balmores' life. We'll explore the friendships and promises forged in the heat of war, the relentless pursuit of hidden wealth, and the enduring impact of these dark historical chapters. Join us as we continue this captivating journey, revealing the untold stories and the shadowy figures behind the legend of Yamashita's treasure. Don't miss the next episode where the story takes an even more intriguing turn. Stay tuned for the part 2 of hunting the hidden vault of Yamashita's treasure. If you have enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. Follow us on social media for updates and more intriguing content. Thank you for listening to Lil Weird Podcast.